by the end of this video, I think you're going to have a lot of hope and be really excited about what America House is doing. We are building the first content house with a purpose for a new American Revolution. I'm going to read from my laptop. I just spent a bunch of time writing this manifesto. No AI involved, besides for a couple stats. And what America House is an institution built for the Great American Awakening 2.0. You didn't know, in the Revolution, they called it American Awakening. We are here to amplify the people's voices, to end apathy, despair, and catalyze widespread participation in bringing our invisible potential to light. Again, I'll get into the how second, but I'm going to start with the why. If you feel like, oh, this is impossible, you're going to understand that it is very possible, and literally, you're going to watch it happen. We are slowly beginning to harness the power of internet to reflect coordinated real-world systemic change. I think this is just the beginning of that trend. We are yet to see a narrative for the nation pointed in the direction we take here in this manifesto. Many groups and people have crafted visions of a better future, but lack a coordinated effort to rise above the corporatocracy we live in today. Thus, we remain divided, and the common sense upgrades is an invisible shadow with no light cast on it. That is why I've decided, my partner and my friends, to take the American Revolution, Revelation, Reclamation forward with a narrative HQ. America House is building the future of political media to rebuild trust in a new kind of transparent institution. We believe in common sense politics, and I like to rise above labels. When someone asks me, I say I'm on the y-axis, above, with the goal of becoming the nation's leading civic and political institution. Being universally supportable is not just a strategy of virtue, but of practicality. It's common sense. To become the biggest media institution in politics, we need to be loved by all. While we are never set in our values, and will be coordinated infrastructure for the collective representation through digital polling, we have constructed a preliminary 10 guiding principles to make a statement of values. You will know where your tax dollars go. Your lawful money cannot be arbitrarily frozen. Your health care will not bankrupt you. Your energy, rent, food, and insurance costs will be attacked like national priorities. AI will work for you, not rule over you. Robots will build public abundance. Scammers, monopolies, and corrupt insiders will lose their advantage. Communities will get power back under open national standards. America will become a country that gains its citizens' trust again, transparent government, private souls, abundant life. We believe in making the government visible, the citizen free, and the country and its citizens thrive. The old republic was paperwork, banks, and TV. The republic is opening, there's the awareness. But it's time to make a systemic change actually by the people and for the people. Not an election which leads to a lesser of two evils from a well-oiled machine. I mean, why do we not let the people decide what presidents debate about? Today, we do not have American-ran elections. Our voices are not represented. We have party-controlled elections. We do not have a simple way to aggregate our thoughts to the president. We do not have a simple tool of aggregating our thoughts, like change.org, to the states. We live in an age of the speed of light, yet we run in the old world. The failure to establish these systems is just one symptom that has resulted from a lack of a system that is not a public servant. Imagine we had a live site constantly being updated with an invitation to answer. If you were president, what would be your executive order? My example answer is transparency mandatory for spending of all tax dollars. No taxation without transparent spending. And auto-calculated taxes for people. If it's already known what's owed, why are we taking the time of the people to tell us? These are common sense things that I believe are universally supportable. This would allow a nation to have a voice, and I believe will bring the top of the mind common sense upgrades that can truly make this nation thrive. I want a president that runs behind this mission of getting the nation's voice to coordinate, to bring common sense to the forefront and to rise above the noise. We will put that site live, america.co/president-u, and you'll understand later in this video why it will have a lot of traction. The question that's being answered here is, if America was a public benefit corp and all the people were its shareholders, how would it actually operate? That's the goal of bringing common sense to the forefront. As a shareholder, you get to know exactly how things are spent, and you're able to look into how money was given to certain people. Because as a corporation, you would typically do that. The problem is, you have people who are in control of certain accounts and spending who have their own interests in mind. And that's human nature, somewhat. We can't do better by electing better people. We can only do better by building better systems, trustless systems. We are only divided because the dividing narratives are beating common sense ones. It's obvious to me that abundance is fully, potentially there. And the government is the greatest bottleneck to that today. I believe it is possible to have a campaign via which the American people finish, not with a losing half and a winning half, but with a win-win, where a supermajority of America collectively says fuck yes to the future, because we have not had a unifying election in 200 years. Statistically, we have not had a vote above 11.1% divided in 200 years. 1824 was the past time when someone got 61.1% of the popular vote. That was Monroe in 1820. Oh, that was an 80% plus. The last time that there was close to that was Lyndon B. Johnson in 64 at 61.1%. So the moonshot here is getting 61.2% of the nationwide vote for a win-win candidate, which shouldn't be considered disruption. We're in an age of digital connectedness, more capability than ever to sense-make and collectively find a candidate that we can all agree is vital, amazing, and exciting for the future of America. With the systems and narrative for America to elect the best possible representative of the people's interests doesn't exist. That's what America House is for. It is high time we as Americans decide our own fate. Otherwise, we continue to let the idea of a divided vote of a lesser of two evils to persist. I don't think anyone never thought of Trump as a corporate politician. There was no disguise of that. Nobody thought he was perfect. I believe most people thought he was just less of a deep state than the alternative. And we are more than capable of moving from puppet of the party or puppet of the corporations to steward of the people, because that's what a representative is meant to be. So that's why America House itself, while we will have voices of the left and the right within, will always be pushing for the common sense and common ground, bipartisan, undivided, above division, on a y-axis. I love that the y-axis also represents the why. What's on the y-axis? Solutions, trustless technology, truth, transparency. And it's really fun when someone asks your party lines and you say, I'm on the y-axis. I'm above it all. And on the y-axis, as well, is the below, which is performance politics, corporate politics. Above that is transparent politics. So left and right candidates, imagine we had a better business bureau for candidates, which there's a cool project, Impact Integrity US, that I really like. Things like that can become more common nature. We are meant to be a 300 million plus party system. With 300 million diverse souls and opinions, labels are devices of division. This is only the way the system is because we have let it be. I want that to be very clear. It is our fault. We have the power. It's exactly that responsibility taking that gives us responsibility. We have failed to coordinate and we have failed to step up to the challenge that greed creates. The founding fathers, John Adams, said, "There is nothing which I dread so much as division of the republic into two great parties. This is to be dreaded as the greatest political evil." We are there, and it is our fault. It might not have been the people's fault when the two-party system was installed, who didn't have the literal speed of light and the internet on their hands, but we do. We have the tools and capabilities to run a sort of America's Got President election cycle, where we search nationwide for the best candidate. We are at a crossroads. And we also, before I get into that, have the power to coordinate all our voices, our common sense, our greatest visions of a great future, to give that candidate, or those candidates, the firepower to continue to spread the message of a campaign that is truly built to win, by the people and for the people. And we are at this existential crossroads where this is necessary. Very powerful AI systems that are on track to go more powerful. Authoritarian technology is then pressuring us. The end of jobs as we've known them. Some people want to keep them because they don't trust that UBI will be ran correctly. That's not a surprise. More money, of course, from the stimulus was stolen than given. It felt like a prize, but the amount that was printed deflated everyone's value of money itself. So maybe an executive order that all printed money would have to get distributed evenly. If we are to use the money printer, which we don't have control over. One of the great things of why Bitcoin rose was just that, hey, here's a currency that isn't controlled, that isn't going to just be inflated, which is literally just theft of everyone who owns the currency, who don't control where the printed money goes, and we are given a piece of that printed money in order to make it feel like a prize. Again, narrative. It's all a narrative war. The fact of the matter is, this is becoming super understood. A lot of people are asking, what can I do about all this evil I'm becoming aware of? What can I do about this fear I'm getting about the future? So care is coming into play in a big way. Fact of the matter is that there's an uprising of care. And care is kind of like motivation in the sense that it could come in waves. You can get demotivated. You can get de-care. When you care a lot but don't feel like you have a place to put it, and the world doesn't receive it, you build a wall of apathy, of despair, of feeling like the better future in your heart that you know is possible isn't attainable, that it's out of reach. But I'm here to tell you, through and through, the power to make a new America is in front of us. That's how the democracy was set up. I think we're in an age when we need leaders who teach us. We're in an age when we need genius. Someone who understands complex systems and can explain it to you. Solutions that can become common sense. This type of mind you can call a meta-crisis thinker. This moves from crisis, understand several crisis, to understanding the common incentive, coordination, and sense-making failures that generate them. The greatest leader doesn't lead his ideas. They lead as a great representative of the people. And now we have easy ability to make the tools to get everyone's representation, to make the voices feel heard. So when we spend our time on the crises, which is the symptom of the problem, it's like if we have a disease and we're putting a Band-Aid on the infection grows bigger. We spend all our attention, energy, and resources on this Band-Aid. Maybe the Band-Aid wasn't even possible because a lot of these crises feel outside of our hands. But we have the power for the cure. Let's go into the how. How we will do this. Cyber war, narrative war, fifth dimension of warfare. You might have heard that. That is the war we're in. It's not about guns, it's about thumbs. It's about where we give our attention. Politics has always been a social phenomenon. We have the power to elect the people we want, but the election is run by them, not by us. America House, one goal will be to make the election season start early for 2028. Why haven't we already decided a year before they say, hey, here's your 2 final votes? No. We'll know. We want this person. We can do that. Now, you might be hearing this. You might have heard some of this before. You might be feeling like, that's a great vision. It's a great mission. I'm not sure you can do it. But the thing is, we've seen this work. And I'll tell you why this is the time. We have more people electing themselves as independents, saying, I'm an independent, double the amount of Republican or Democrat today. That's one stat that shows us this. The other thing, we have so many political voices coming online. I moved into Hype House, and they moved out of the Hollywood House. I ended up taking a couple Hype House members, starting a content house with them. People in that house went from 0 to 5 million followers in 2 months. I've seen it firsthand. I built it, ran it. My house didn't have a bigger shared vision like this. That's why I'm seeing everything in the world today now and going, whoa. This is similar to early TikTok, where you had Charlie D'Amelio, Addison Rae, Hudson, Dixie, who had 1 million followers, left the Hype House with 57 million followers. That was 1.5 years. Alex Warren had 700K followers, by the way, when he joined Hype House. You might have heard of Charlie D'Amelio, left the Hype House with 30 times more followers. We have the voices becoming just as big as the people in TikTok media, now rising in political media. But these voices don't have the unified front. When the unified front happened for TikTok, Hype House, it made the most viral house on the internet. So what's going to happen when we take the political influencers and we make the first political content house? Each of their individual voices will become massive. And all of those things I talked about will get the amount of attention they deserve. And we will coordinate the greatest American experiment ever to have all of our voices coordinate. We'll have just change.org for America. But this time, everyone can submit, vote, like a Reddit thread. We can install all of the solutions that we know in our hearts is possible. We can unlock and unblock the greatest American future ever. And this time, not vote a lesser of two evils, but collectively find a candidate and help him craft his understanding of all the obvious things to do and civic technology to put in place for transparency, trust, and accountability, and make what will be considered the next American Revolution happen. We can have the Epstein class of politicians out of office, running our country, voting on the bills that create the future of America. The biggest bottleneck to establishing heaven on planet Earth, or whatever term comes close to you, utopia, protopia, better, is government. A content house with a real purpose has never been done. A content house for politics has never been done. The biggest potential focus for anyone is making this win. That's why it's my focus. The war against corruption does not need intentions and guns like it did for our forefathers, but only intentions and thumbs. As always, remember, this nation was built on American spirit, not Americant spirit. Your participation in bringing this idealistic future is the only thing that can make it happen. I consider all citizens founding fathers of America.co, where we're thinking about what if America was run as a public benefit corp for the benefit of all people. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Vibes to the people. Thank you.